Let's paint a vision, your imagination. It started moving round the world. Dream car. Let's paint a vision, your imagination. It started moving round the world. From a sketch on a piece of paper. Come together now. Dream car.
Do you remember the day we met?
Of course. Between us, only cherry blossoms in full bloom.
I never thought we'd meet again.
Me too. Wonderful. The cherry blossom showed me.
The way back to you. Smiles ahead, Seibu Group.
Man, look at all these cars.
Hey, have you heard, by the way? The Japanese company Kobelco is working to make the world's cars lighter.
So what does that mean?
Kobelco is using aluminum and steel technologies to make car parts and bodies lighter around the world.
Ah, Japanese technology. The country of karate. Ha! Ha! Ha!
Why do we always do that?
I don't know.
The talk of the world. Kobelco.
ベトナムに対してワクチンの技術援助をするとか我々の技術を出せばですね救われる人たちがたくさんいる。でもう一つは非常に少ない疾病の患者さんたちのための開発をやっています。いかにしたら未だ治らない病気の治療薬ができるかっていう、そこにみんなの気持ちが大体集まってます。
Welcome to Channel Japan. I'm Mai Demizu.
And I'm Makiko Tsuda.
Every week, we bring you the freshest information out of Japan from our studio here in Tokyo.
From the economy to culture and even foods, if you want to find out what's happening in Japan right now, this is where you'll find it.
And these are topics for today.
In Dreamweavers, a construction company builds a surprising new business to cheer up its local community.
In the Project Japan, top business leaders from around the world arrive in Japan to talk corporate strategy and management.
From World Business Satellite, a look at something common in Japan, but that's becoming a big hit overseas.
And from Takumi, a developer of a new metal processing technology. So let's get started. First up is Dreamweavers, in which we introduce the innovations of Japan's small and mid-sized companies.
This time we'll be showing you the latter half of our report on a construction company that also manufactures dried salmon shavings.
Why a construction company making them?
I know, it's strange, isn't it? But just to give you a little background on the company, Maruwa Shinwa Construction is based in Shibetsu, which we have a map of over here. It's a small town on the eastern edge of Hokkaido with a population of just 5,400 people. And they say every year 200 local youngsters leave the town in search of work.
So I imagine there aren't many jobs in the area. But why dried salmon shavings of all things?
It's interesting, isn't it? Shibetsu is known for some of the biggest hauls of autumn salmon, and it's been ranked #1 in the country several times in the past. And the company makes dried salmon shavings from salmon caught by local fishermen for roe and then discarded. And what's more, the wood used to smoke the salmon or the fish comes from the thinning of forest in the area.
Also, their idea is to utilize local resources as effectively and efficiently as possible and to create jobs in the region.
Exactly, and the company isn't stopping there, and it's taken on a new challenge, so have a look.
A summer festival in Shibetsu, Hokkaido. This impressive-looking float is carrying the symbol of this region, salmon. At the festival, there's one stall where an especially long line has formed. They're serving Ramen noodles? But apparently not the regular kind. It's ramen of dried salmon shavings. The soup is made from stock of dried salmon shavings, which are also sprinkled generously over the noodles. Masanori Tamura is the first person in Japan to start full-scale production of dried salmon shavings. But
We're actually a construction company. We're in the construction business.
these highly regarded dried salmon shavings are in fact made by a construction company. But why? Arriving to unravel this mystery is manga artist Hikaru Tanaka. Next to the office is the dried salmon shavings factory. 7 in the morning. Work is already underway. The first thing he sees is
These fish are actually salmon. This is the color. The color isn't what I imagined it to be.
these are salmon that have done their part spawning. As they've lost fat and aren't considered tasty to eat, prices are said to be low. But because they don't have fat, they are more easily smoked and perfect for making dried salmon shavings. Put over an open flame for 3 hours, cooked with residual heat for 2 hours, and smoked for 5 hours, the color changes to this. But split open, the inside is still white. They are then transported to a large 3-floor rapid smoking room. The wood is burned on the first floor. Once the moisture is removed, the salmon are moved to the 3rd floor. Smoked about 9 times for a month here, they are finally done. But why did a construction company start full-scale production of dried salmon shavings in the first place? It had something to do with the president's hobby. He's actually the representative of the Regional Soba Noodle Society and is quite a skilled soba maker. This may appear to be unrelated, but it was what drove him to start making dried salmon shavings.
This is really good. People were talking about whether it would be possible to make soup stock from salmon, which is a big resource of the region. I felt I could contribute to regional revitalization and started making dry salmon shavings.
So 6 years ago, Mr. Tamura went to study at a factory making dried bonito shavings in Yaizu, Shizuoka Prefecture. There he learned the traditional production method. To make dried salmon shavings, various construction-related know-how was put to use. But not everything is designed as efficiently and rationally as possible. In fact, this Tebiyama-style smoking method is becoming obsolete nationwide, with most manufacturers carrying out the process using machines. Mr. Tamura, though, intentionally chose a method that couldn't be carried out at the press of a button.
We decided to take a harder path from the start. By doing that, we felt we could create jobs in Shibetsu and improve the situation here. Instead of relying on machines and just tiring out workers, we went in the opposite direction.
Mr. Tamura focused not on automation, but on using manpower. He felt that was especially important for Shibetsu. Shibetsu's primary industries are fisheries and dairy farming, as employment opportunities are limited. About 200 young people are said to leave the town every year. Mr. Tamura wanted to build dried salmon shavings into an industry that would create new jobs.
If this starts really selling across the country, then we have to make more of it. Then we'll need more people. We won't be able to do it with the people we have now. And then jobs will be created. In that way, the region will be re-energized.
But why does Mr. Tamura have such strong feelings for this region? In fact, he's not even a native of Shibetsu.
I come from Tsurui, a village in Kushiro, Hokkaido.
Maruwa Shinwa Construction was founded by his wife's father in 1973. Mr. Tamura was working at telephone operator NTT when he was asked by his future father-in-law to take over the business. After marriage, he began a new career as an architect.
I came to Shibetsu determined to spend the rest of my life here. It's about more than losing the company. If this region disappears, then our company will be gone too. The desire to do something for this town is what's making me move my body.
Building an industry, creating jobs, and breathing new life into the region. From that desire, the company has expanded from construction to dried salmon shavings, and now it is embarking on a new initiative.
These are soba flowers. Soba flowers? Yes, that's right.
This is a farm where the company grows and produces soba, or buckwheat.
If we just build places to work, we can create jobs.
In addition to dried salmon shavings, the company is also getting involved in agriculture. 6 years ago, they set up a regional resources development department to carry out non-construction related projects. It has helped create jobs for 8 people.
I fell in love with the president's motivation and energy, and that's why I started coming here. It's only been about a year since I joined, but every day I learned something about the condition of the fish, the thickness of the wood, the difference in the final product depending on the weather.
The president's daughter, who had left to work in Tokyo, is now back helping to make dried salmon shavings.
I'm grateful to be able to work here.
Everyone says they find the work fulfilling, as it's something that can only be done here. And because the company started making dried salmon shavings, the construction business has also benefited.
From about 3 years ago, word started spreading about dried salmon shavings, and as the business took hold, things on the construction side also improved.
People who learned about the company through its dried salmon shavings began contracting it to build and renovate homes, and even to set up a food factory. The president's dream had been to create new jobs in the town so that the youngsters who left for the big city could return. Maruwa Shinwa Construction is a small company whose first priority is re-energizing the community.
It's a wonderful company. I really learned a lot.
We asked manga artist Hikaru Tanaka to depict this construction company that makes dried salmon shavings in a manga.
I drew several different patterns so that they'll find something they like. The employees are also part of the theme.
The first one.
Not that good at faces. This must be...
It's the president himself with a big smile, catching the just-saved salmon in a basket. The second one is of a scene during our interviews.
This is nice.
It appears to be growing on him. You could use this tool and play that Jenga game. The third one is of this scene. Voltage, nitrogen, pressure, clear. Now, I'm injecting the nitrogen. Shh. And the final one.
I see. This is me. I'm crying.
You young ones, thank you. Thank you for coming back to Shibetsu, like a boomerang. Oh, so there's no reference to salmon. Seeing Mr. Tanaka's manga, everyone bursts out laughing. It's not every day that you find a company as wonderful as this. We hope this circle of smiles continues to widen.
Well, after the break, we have the Project Japan.
ORIX is driving business in Asia through leases, investments, real estate development, energy businesses, and more. Making business more dynamic and fast-paced than ever. ORIX.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is Tokyo Skytree. Be awestruck by the panoramic view. There are so many other fun things to do after you've enjoyed the view. Ladies and gentlemen, let's go, let's enjoy. This is Tokyo Skytree.
Making better living with functional labels and films. Connecting dreams throughout the world with our unique technology. Linking your dreams now from Japan to the world. For adhesive products, we are Lintech.
Japanese SMEs with world-class technology, quality, and reliability. Innovative online matching site for finding business partners you can trust. J-Good Tech, your solution is here.
You're watching Channel Japan. So, Tsuda-san, what's next?
Yes, we have a report from the recent Nikkei Global Management Forum, which brings together top business leaders from around the world for discussions on corporate strategy and management, as well as the latest trends in various industries.
We'll understand from the first gathering in 1999, it's growing to one of Asia's biggest business conferences. So, what was the focus of discussion this year?
Well, this year, as you know, with the slowdown in China and other emerging economies, plus the falling oil prices, the global economy is said to be entering a new juncture.
I see. Well, I know since the 2008 financial crisis, many companies have been rebuilding their businesses, and there were hopes that the global economy is finally back on track. So the slowdown in China appeared to have been a big blow.
Well, it appears to be the case, and it was one of the topics discussed at the forum, but most participants said that they remain confident about the future of the Chinese economy.
Well, and with these growing risks to the health of global economy, I think the corporate managers will need to come up with a new strategy, not only to survive, but also to build businesses for the future.
So how do the leaders of global companies see the future of their industries? Have a look.
The Project Japan. The Nikkei Global Management Forum is an international conference that brings together the leaders of top global companies to discuss management strategies and trends. This year, a record number of executives gathered in Tokyo and exchanged views on a range of topics. 2015 was a challenging year for many companies around the world. A major headwind has been falling commodity prices. And among the most affected is Rio Tinto.
There's a lot of debate right now about the quality of Chinese growth. When you look ahead to the future in terms of your corporate planning forecasts, are you assuming that China will continue to grow at its current pace?
Yeah, we don't believe that China will continue to grow. As it becomes a much larger economic base, as it becomes more like a developed country, then of course growth is going to slow. And the base is huge. Importantly, when we look at the fundamentals, and we spend a lot of time analysing, we see that there will be a continuing urbanisation. There will be continued investment in infrastructure. All of these will require the commodities that we produce and we supply. So we believe that China will continue to become a very important part of our business, as will the ASEAN nations, as will India as it starts to increase its pace of development. The Middle East, 1 billion people live in Africa, and we'll see the same sort of urbanisation there. Perhaps not tomorrow, but it will be there in the future. The world cannot develop without the commodities that we supply.
The constantly changing economic environment means that for companies to survive, they may at times need to restructure their organizations. Panasonic racked up massive losses of more than 700 billion yen for 2 straight years through the fiscal year ended March 2013. Spearheading reforms was Kazuhiro Tsuga. ABB is an engineering firm from Switzerland. After expanding rapidly through M&A, the company ran into a series of problems that put the entire business at risk. The person that led the turnaround was Ulrich Spiesshofer. What difficulties did they both face in restructuring their organizations?
The hardest thing is changing the mindset of our people. This is not done by cutting, this is not done by just telling. This is done by engaging. We had to bring in a new performance management system that ties the external focus to the inside ABB. We had to change the management processes to make sure that everybody recognizes customer first and the market drives what we are doing. And quite frankly, we had also to change quite a bit of management to ensure that the customer-facing people that are orientated towards the market win, and the internally facing people realize that they have to change.
As president, I believe that what's added by the performance of each division adds to the entire company. It's a management structure that's extremely easy to understand. But that alone won't drive development. So we've put something called a company organization over it. Without this system, our autonomous division structure would mean 37 units each engaged in separate activities. We wouldn't be able to show our big clients the true scale of Panasonic. We've achieved this through our company organization, and now we're shifting towards B2B.
James McNerney was picked in 2005 to run Boeing, which was in the midst of a management crisis, and succeeded in turning the company around. A professional manager whose abilities were also demonstrated during his time at GE and 3M. What is his view of innovation?
It is the single most difficult thing to manage as a general manager in a company that depends on innovation as part of their business strategy. And so our challenge, and given the culture of Boeing, because we have some of the brightest technical people, engineers in the world who can dream big ideas. And so the discipline should not be a function of a debate between finance people and between engineers and innovators. It should be between the voice of the customer and the innovators.
Hailing from Asia are two companies from the IT sector, which is bringing about a big change not just to the global economy, but to the lives of ordinary people. The top executives of these two leading IT firms point out the qualities essential for companies to break through to the future.
I would say, if you are a company that is in innovation, you cannot think about manage the employee. You need to think about grow the employee. Or you rely on your true management is just inspiration. You create an environment that let them can explore their potential and can be freely talking about their innovation without scare of someone will steal their idea.
For Internet companies, human resources are crucial. Every month, we carry out the important work of visiting universities. We spend an entire month. Actually, you could say more than a month. We visit the best universities a year in advance to recruit people. We look for regular university students as well as graduate school students to find the best people. We've been doing this for 10 years. And every year, we identify aspects that need to be improved and evaluate if the new employees that we recruited in this way really contribute to innovation at our company.
A new crop of business leaders is emerging in Asia with their sights on the international market. We explore the factors that propel companies into global players.
This camera, this Muse X5, is the first aerial camera that was devised for aerial imaging. That was a Micro Four Third camera. However, there were many Micro Four Third cameras around the world. They were just not targeting that aerial perspective of it. And so I think in a lot of countries, a lot of teams have all the pieces together. I think Frank happened to be that guy with his dream that he believed in, and he happened to picture all the puzzles together.
FPT is a company in the field of cloud and big data services from fast-growing Vietnam. Chairman Chuan Zabin founded FPT in 1988 with 12 engineers and grew it into Vietnam's biggest ICT company.
Mr. Bin, as for IT system and software business, global competition seems to be very, fierce. What do you think are the conditions for Vietnam?
Our partners in the United States, DuPont, for example, they said to us that please don't compete with India in the old areas because they are so good at that, really. But take the new areas like SMAC, like Internet of Things, and if you focus, you can build your competitiveness. And that is a way Vietnam would like to do.
One of the biggest headwinds overshadowing the global economy is the slowdown in China. As CEO of the Hong Kong Exchange, Charles Lee has watched the market of Asia from the front lines. He reveals the art of understanding the Chinese market.
I personally actually think this slowing down is really a great welcome sign, because China, as a big boat, has been fast steaming forward way too long, way too much, way too fast. You should think about China have a bad economy and have a good economy. The bad economy is manufacturing, resources, all the things that are that have been involved in the excessive capacity that China has built. The good economy is actually services sector and many other sectors that are in the private ownership. The bad economies contribute about about 50% of the revenue, but only 30% of the profit. the good economy is responsible for 70% of the employment. So even when you see official numbers coming down, let's say it's 5, let's say 6, let's say 7, whatever it is, the bad economy is a lot worse than that. The good economy is a lot better than that. Because even with all these massive problems, you don't really, employment is very tight, wages are very tight, very hard to find manufacturing labor. And the only people that we have employment problems is people with a college degree.
I have to say there are a lot of interesting perspectives and insights.
There were, weren't there? And despite the negative economic headlines, many top managers said that these trying times are an opportunity for growth.
Well, after the break, we have an episode from the World Business Satellite.
The path to success calls for wisdom that knows results. We have the wisdom and the power to bring ideas to fruition. We're by your side, offering support as the force that motivates business. For example, through our cash management service, we consider ourselves your right hand for growth in Asia, and we want you to know our mark. Rising with Asia, SMBC, Sumitomo Mitsui Banking Corporation.
Mitsui & Company.
You're watching Channel Japan. Next, we have a report from TV Tokyo's World Business Satellite. So, Tsuga-san, what's the topic?
Yes, this time we'll be looking at something that's starting to be recognized overseas in places such as Europe. It's this bento.
Bento means lunchboxes, right? Well, it's sort of everyday fare. Why the interest now?
Well, it's said that many people find the concept of taking what you want to eat anywhere in a box appealing. And in addition to the fact that you can customize the menu, unlike when eating at a restaurant, for instance.
Well, for people worrying about getting a proper balanced nutrition, they can put different types of food inside their bento too.
Apparently that seems to be the case. And so this time we meet a person who's said to have started a bento box boom across foreign tourists. So have a look.
Here and there, tourists from overseas are seen holding up their cameras. They're all snapping pictures of the Scramble intersection in Shibuya that's now part of the tourist circuit. About a 3-minute walk from there is lifestyle goods retailer Shibuya Loft. Inside, many of the customers appear to be overseas tourists. The store says sales have doubled from last year.
In the morning, there are more foreign customers than Japanese.
Enlarged for the specific purpose of drawing in these customers is, surprisingly, the bento box section.
There's interest across a range of customers from Asia to Europe and North America.
This man is visiting from Canada.
More like a Tupperware. Yeah. Just one level. Yeah. But this has 2 levels, which is nice.
Japanese bento boxes have been attracting interest from around the world. The ancient capital of Kyoto. There's a shop here specializing in bento boxes, one of the few in Japan. Bento & Co. It's visited by Japanese, of course, but also many foreign visitors.
In Australia, to have bento boxes, but I like them.
From colorful bento boxes to those with traditional Japanese designs. Together with related items, they carry about 1,000 types of products. The most popular are these kokeshi bento. The face and body are the bento box, and the head part serves as a bowl.
Why? It's because it's cute.
It's cute. And it's a his and hers.
And it's a compact, so, you know, everything is stacked together and you don't have to pack them separately, so that's...
The shop's owner, Thomas Bertrand, is originally from France. Interested in Japanese culture, he enrolled at Kyoto University in 2003. While talking to his mother back in France after graduating, he came up with the idea of starting a business in the country.
My mother in France told me she saw a bento recipe in a magazine, and at that moment, I knew for sure that bento boxes would sell.
In 2008, he spent 50,000 yen of his savings to buy bento boxes from Japanese manufacturers. What he started was a bento box shopping website in French. Orders came rushing in.
It was right after the financial crisis, and because of that, there were many articles about saving money, and newspapers and magazines were introducing bento boxes as part of that trend.
In France, lunch can be a full-course affair. And it's said that people spend about 2,700 yen on average. But in the wake of the 2008 financial crisis and European financial crisis, people began tightening their purse strings, and Japanese-style bento lunches began attracting attention. There are other catalysts. This is a manga cafe specializing in Japanese manga, which now has a wide following in France. Similar specialty shops can be found throughout the country. Inside are bento boxes.
Recently, there's been growing interest in bento boxes among people who read Japanese manga. There are scenes in which the characters are eating bento at school or in the office, and that's made people curious.
Bento depicted in manga. Manga is also playing a role in spreading the bento box culture in France. Mr. Bertrand has been expanding his business in Japan on the back of the bento box boom in France. Now, 80% of his products are for overseas. He ships to 90 countries and regions. Starting out with just 50,000 yen, he has grown it into a 160 million yen business in just 7 years.
It's ready!
Leveraging his non-Japanese perspective, he has been introducing new products one after another. This is one of his latest offerings. It has a cherry blossom pattern. It's also 1.8 times bigger than typical boxes. The reason?
Instead of rice, You could put pasta or salad, for example. Salad can take up a lot of space, so you need a bigger bento box.
Japanese food is placed in a conventional bento box, and a French-type lunch is put into the new, bigger box. Compared to the rice, which can be packed in, the pasta and salad require more space. He says non-Japanese customers prefer the bigger size. There's another type of bento box that addresses the tastes of foreign customers and is continually in short supply. This is Odate Kogeisha in Akita Prefecture. They make a traditional Japanese product called Odate Magewappa. In their showroom are samples stamped with the Bento & Co. mark.
Thankfully, we're screaming in delight, but customers have to wait 2 to 3 months.
Odate Magewappa is made using a technique developed in the Edo period and handed down over the generations. First, Akita cedar is soaked in water of 80 degrees Celsius for 30 minutes, making it soft.
When you take it out, it's hot. You have to tolerate the heat and bend it right away.
The Akita cedar is taken out of the hot water. And with bare hands, it's bent around a mold.
In the beginning, it felt hot and I kept getting burned. But now the skin on my hands has thickened. That's right.
The surface of the wood is then sanded and polished. A carefully crafted traditional product of Akita Prefecture. Magewappa is characterized by the scent of natural Akita cedar and the beautiful grain. And as it absorbs moisture, rice that's left in the box keeps its consistency and taste even when cold. It also has the same effect on noodles, and they say that's one reason for its popularity among people from overseas.
We want to continue researching what people overseas, people around the world want, to make even better products.
The attraction of the bento box, something so common in Japan that it's been overlooked. Now, a bento box boom sparked by a Frenchman is giving birth to a new market.
Spring in Japan. Lovely views. Heartwarming flavors. And exhilarating experiences. Discover the best Japan has to offer right here in central Japan this spring. Nagoya Railroad Group.
Potenza.
When was the first time I came here? Rich in nature and water, this is the land of clear waters. Nurtured by such clear waters are a history and traditions passed down to this day. And countless sophisticated products. The bliss of Gifu cuisine gifted by its clear waters. The land of clear waters enthralls me every time I visit. Come and feel Gifu.
Channel Japan.
your source for the voices and views of people and businesses across Japan. The latest reports on Japanese companies, culture, and technology. Find out what's happening on the ground. Every week, direct from Tokyo, Channel Japan.
And next, we bring you a segment called Takumi from Science View, a program produced by NHK.
Takumi literally means artisan in Japanese, and it's a word often used to describe craftsmen with exceptional skills.
My schedule for Science View next week is a studio shoot and... Oh, hi, I'm Michelle. This laptop here is light and easy to carry around, and on top of that, it's very sturdy. The secret lies in the magnesium alloy that's used right here. It's a very hard substance that's difficult to process. Today, I'll introduce you to a Takumi or innovator who developed a unique method to facilitate the process. Let's go. We visited Osaka City. The metal processing company is located in an industrial zone of the city that's filled with small and mid-sized companies. Hello, I'm Michelle.
Hello, I'm Tamai.
Today's Takumi is Kenji Tamai. He's an engineer who excels in metal processing. I heard that your company makes a lot of things with magnesium alloys, and you really do have a variety.
Yes, we make the top covers for laptops, smartphone parts, and many other things. Magnesium alloys are sturdy and lightweight, so they're used to make portable electronic devices, and the demand is growing. Would you like to try holding one?
Yes, please. Whoa, this is surprising. It's this light?
Yes, it is.
It's like a piece of paper. It's so light. We went to see the factory.
This is where the pieces that you saw earlier are made. We make laptop casings. We make about 3,500 pieces per day, and are the only company in Japan that can produce this amount.
Impressive. Until now, there were two main ways to process magnesium alloys. One method was to pour the molten magnesium alloy into a metal mold. It worked well for complicated shapes, but the drawback was that when making thin objects, the magnesium alloy would not flow in properly. The other method was by press working. It was good for making thin products, but the metal tended to crack when complicated shapes were made. To prevent it from cracking, it had to be pressed little by little over the course of 2 or 3 times. But here, it seems to be pressed just once.
That's right. The technology that we developed was a method for processing it in one shot.
What kind of technology is it? The secret is in the vapor that you see rising.
Our company originally made metal molds. We came up with the idea of heating the metal molds.
Heating the metal molds?
Yes.
These two?
Yes. We heat them up to nearly 200 degrees. The metal becomes hot, and we process it quickly while it's warm.
Heating the material prevents it from cracking during the press processing. However, magnesium alloys expand and contract when heated or cooled. On top of that, the metal mold also expands when heated. Developing a temperature control system was extremely difficult. For example, to make a size 10 product, the metal mold has to be a size 9 at room temperature. When the metal mold is heated, it expands to a size 11. the magnesium alloy is processed while the metal mold is in this state. Heated by the metal mold, the magnesium alloy is processed as a size 11, but contracts as it cools. As a result, the finished product is a size 10 and in accordance with the original blueprint. But the metal mold is made out of iron and its expanding and contracting rate differs from that of a magnesium alloy. So actually, that difference too is calculated and included in the production process. That must have required a lot of calculations.
Yes, it required a lot of complex calculations, so deciding the size of a metal mold was extremely difficult. The shape and size of the product were also factors. It took about 4 to 5 years of trial and error.
The biggest difference is seen in the product's corners. Until now, the corners had to curve widely to prevent materials under 0.5 millimeters thick from cracking. But by using this heated press system, it became possible to create almost right-angle corners. With this new technique, it became possible to create a very delicate and complicated design with just one pressing process. With a wider range of moldings, they were able to adapt to various demands.
This is a completely new technique, so I'm very happy about it. Manufacturing technology is advancing day by day. What seems impossible right now might be easily accomplished in, say, a year from now. So it's important to not set boundaries for yourself. Even if it can't be done now, if you keep trying, a new technology might be developed that will serve as a springboard. That's what I always keep in mind.
And that brings us to the end of this edition of Channel Japan. We have much more in store for you, so join us again next week